Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. My name is Nikki Clucci, and I will be your host. As a former correctional officer in Alberta for almost 2 decades and the founder of Blue Line Fitness Testing, which provides law enforcement fitness testing and first responder wellness workshops, I started this podcast as a way for female first responders to share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of their daily work. I want to showcase the unique perspectives, skill sets, and personalities that women bring to a first responder career and share their stories. So get ready to laugh your ass off, learn a whole bunch, and be inspired by some pretty badass women. Let's go.
Welcome back, guys. Oh my gosh, you guys. I have been so blessed in this freaking season to have incredible guests. And I've got another awesome one, and she's coming to us all the way from the States again, you guys. I'm infiltrating America slowly. I'm joined today by Rachael Stark. Rachael's coming to us all the way from Missouri. Rachael was previously a full-time police officer. Now she's a reserve police officer. She was also a death investigator with the medical examiner's office and currently writes policy for St. Louis County Police, which has over 88 municipalities, guys, within the one overseeing body, which we're going to jump into because I think that's wild. Rachael and I just kind of connected organically through email and just reach outs. And she's a super cool chick, you guys. I'm so excited about this episode. Welcome, Rachael. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here.
It's going to be so fun. This one's going to be great because we've already talked about some awesome stuff, and you have some zingers that you're going to drop, including that you were a guest on a very famous game show, which I cannot wait to hear about. But let's kick it off with lead me down the trail of how did you get into police? How did you get into death investigations? And the now kind of pivoting into writing policy for obviously a huge county that is overseeing so many municipalities. How did that all kick off for you?
So it all started, my military career actually began before any of my law enforcement career. So I did ROTC, which is a program in college to be commissioned as an officer. So I went through that program in college. I commissioned as a second lieutenant, and now I'm in the Missouri Army National Guard. And that military basis kind of set the foundation. I really liked the structure, the camaraderie. You got the person to your right and your left, and you're like, I can trust you. We're family. And I was like, I want that in my civilian job. So I went out into the world as one does. And I went to the police academy and I joined a police department. And the first department I joined was Creve Coeur, which is one of those municipalities that we were talking about in St. Louis County. So that's where that was the beginning.
So what was it that initially drew you to it though? When you were in high school, what was it that said to you, I think I want to do that. That looks really cool. I think it's really cool that the States has this in high school for you guys. Cause we don't have that up here. There's no, you can do work experience, but there's nothing where it's it's gearing you towards the military. It's gearing you towards law enforcement. It's just basically you graduate from high school up here, you have your diploma, and then you can apply if you want to. I know lots of kids do cadets as they're kind of growing up. And then from there, some of them will transition into applying as an adult into the military or into the Navy or anything like that. But we don't really have any programs like that. So what was it that kind of drew you to it?
I have a big family history of being in the military. So, it's a male dominated thing in my family. It was my dad, my dad's dad, all the way back as far as anyone knows. And I really wanted to uphold that legacy, but, I wanted to break barriers and girl power. And so I modeled, what I wanted to do after what I saw my dad loving. He loved being in the military and he's so proud of his service. And growing up, I had a great influence. There was this police officer that would always come around our house that worked in the area, and he'd introduce himself to everybody because the place was 2 miles big. So we knew all the officers. And I just remember growing up with him and being I want to be like this guy. When I grew up, he's such a good, role model. He's so nice to me. I want to be a police officer. And after while I was making my military decision is how I also made that police officer decision, because I was able to look at the role models in my life and be like, these guys are so cool, but they're guys. I want to be a cool girl, and do my own thing.
I love that. I think that's awesome because it is. And like lots of guests on the podcast have talked about like they didn't even have a clue that females could do it. And then the first time they ever saw a female in that position, like Daisy Van Ravensway, she's a Edmonton firefighter, was on, oh God, beginning of the podcast, like season 2 or 3. And she said she didn't even know that females could be firefighters until she saw one when she was in university. And she was like, wait a minute. Hey, what? You can be a firefighter, you can be a girl. And the firefighter was like, yeah, you absolutely can. There's 6 of them in my station. And she was like, what? But she says, like, if you don't see it, you don't know that that's even an option. So yeah, I think that's super cool. And so for our Canadian listeners, and also for me, because I know nothing about it, the National Guard, what is that, like the reserves? Like, is it kind of like
Yeah.
if like something bad happens and they call you out, but like other than that, you just kind of like chill and just do training and stuff?
That's exactly it. National Guard is state funded essentially. So the person in charge is the governor, as opposed to the reserves where it's, federal. So it's
Okay.
pretty much the same thing where I go in 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks over the summer. And if there's like a natural disaster, but it's more like helping out the state if there's a natural disaster, civil unrest, anything like that, they call up the National Guard. And I can only be put in a unit within my state instead of, federally anywhere in the country. So I wanted to stay close to home. I'm an only child. I wanted to be near my parents. So I knew I wanted to go with Missouri. But when you bring up the all girl thing, sorry, this is a tangent that I'm going to take you on. I just volunteered at the coolest thing, and I think that you would love it. It's called Camp Fury. Have you heard of it?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. So I was asked to be, like a volunteer guest instructor person. The Girl Scouts of America, I guess it's America, the Girl Scouts, I don't know. The Girl Scouts, grades 8 through 12, have this program called Camp Fury, and it was brought to St. Louis. And this is the 10-year anniversary, but the first year that I've done it. So girls, for a week, they stay at the Girl Scout lodge and travel to the police academy every day. We have fire days, police days. I mean, it was the coolest thing. Like, we did traffic stops with them. We climbed a ladder 5 stories. We taught them how to spray water out of a hose. The state trooper helicopter came and landed, and there was a female pilot. It was the coolest thing. And it's getting these 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade girls, they're already knowing what departments they want to go to. I didn't even know that I wanted to be a cop in 8th grade. And these girls have already climbed 5-story ladders. It was so cool.
That is super cool. We have something similar, but it's not all of the things, which I think is where we fall down. So we have Camp Inspire, which is firefighter specific. So it's like a week long, but it's only for fire. And then we have female run with a recruiter. So it's only females for police. And that's mostly for adult aged females versus kids. And then we have police cadets and fire cadets, which are
Right.
high school age kids. But I think that would be super freaking cool because, oh my God, I'm getting a brain. I'm writing this down right now, guys, because I do a female first responder day every year through my business Blue Line. And we bring in 17, 18 different agencies to talk about policing, conservation, fish and wildlife, border patrol, EMS, fire, police, corrections, it's everything across the board.
That's awesome.
And so I think that would be super freaking cool though, to turn it into a camp and have each day. Cause a lot of times girls come in and they're again, women that come to the female first responder day, they're I don't even know what I want to do. I just kind of wanted to find out what's going on?
Right.
What are these different jobs? You could have dispatch in there. I freaking love that. Okay, look at
They
I'm
had
on
crime scene and everything. They had a crime scene gal come and they did dusting for fingerprints. But Camp Fury specifically has different branches. So maybe you could talk to them and reach out and maybe bring it to you. Because I think it started in Scottsdale or Arizona or somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
But it was just
totally.
I met the coolest, the other volunteers. I networked. I met the coolest girl. I literally walk up to this one girl and I was like, I'm scared to climb that ladder. And she's like, well, you're going to do it. And then I came back down and I was like, I think we should be best friends. And we literally talk every single day. It's been 2 weeks. She is my actual, one of my best friends now because she just looked me in the face. She's like, you're going to climb the ladder. She didn't know I was afraid of heights. And
yes.
That was the most fulfilling week of my life.
I freaking love it. And I love that you're already targeting a girls organization like Girl Scouts. For us, it would be Girl Guides. But yes, that's That is super cool. Super cool.
Mhm.
Okay, guys. So stay tuned. Blue Line's new project, guys. Stay tuned for that. But let's come back to you. So you did all your military stuff, carried on into National Guard. So you're still kind of doing that on the side.
Mhm.
And then what was it that was like, you know what? Like, I think I'm going to make that jump to police. Like, why didn't you go full time military?
A boy. It was a boy. And I'm like, oh, I need to stay in Missouri. So now, and then that ended up not working out. Maybe I should think of a better answer, but it was a boy. I'm being honest. And the window passed. I'm like, I'm in the National Guard. This is my decision. And I love it. It is the best decision ever. It left room for me to pursue other things in my civilian career. But I also don't like to move around. Like I've lived in St. Louis my whole life. I moved for college an hour and a half down the road, and then I moved right back.
That's cute. That is cute. I like that. Yep.
So the place I went to go be a full-time police officer is where I grew up, my community. And it was just funny because I was like pulling over people that I knew, like, hey, haven't seen you since high school. Please slow down.
Please don't speed through our community. Thank you. What was that application process like for you?
Well, I am trying to remember. There was such a long process. There's like filling out the application, the background interview, we didn't do a polygraph. It was a voice stress test.
Mhm.
And then there was the board interview. And I was still in the academy when I was interviewing for this police department. So I was going to other departments and interviewing, and it had came down to the department that I chose in another department. Literally within like 48 hours, like, which one are you going to pick? And it
Mhm.
was such a tough decision because then you sign a conditional offer and basically like that takes you out of processes. Like that's
Mhm.
basically saying, I will join your department.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to the place where I was raised, and it was a fantastic experience. It was great to get into police work, but the timing was hard. I literally graduated from the academy in July of 2020. So my police academy was virtual for 6 weeks.
Mhm.
And
Crazy.
and then I get out there and we're like not responding to the calls that we'd usually respond to. Field training was a little harder to like make sure you're getting all those variety of calls. I met my now husband at the time, and I'm just like, something else. Like I'm ready for my next adventure. And that's how I
Mhm.
found myself at the medical examiner's office.
Okay. So you said you were in police academy. So is that like, because here, usually what happens is you get hired on with the agency and then you go to the training academy
Oh,
or then you go to police academy and you're trained specific to that agency versus it sounds like you did like just like a general police academy and then from there you can say like, hey, I've got this certificate that says that I can be a police officer and I can apply anywhere. Is that kind of how that works?
that's how that works here. Like a department can sponsor you to go to the police academy,
Mhm.
and you can be like hired on with them, but you're still in a police academy with other agencies.
Okay.
Or you can just be open enrollment where you don't have an academy sponsoring you. You go and you're applying while you're in the academy, sometimes after you graduate the academy. And I've known people who have graduated from the police academy and not gotten a job.
Wow.
So
Crazy. And you pay to go there.
for some of them, yes. For the one I went to, yes.
Okay. Okay. And so then how long was that?
Okay. I went to a police academy and I went for 5 months out of 6 months. I did not pass firearms by 1 round. I was 1 round short. And they were like, sorry, you're not proficient in firearms, it's fine. I practiced my butt off. I went to
Mhm.
another academy for 6 months. So I've had 11 months of police training. You're only supposed to have 6.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
went to this other academy. I was totally fine on firearms. Like I was practicing, doing what I needed to do. I realized it was such an important skill. And then I passed that one. So short answer is you're supposed to have 6 months. Long answer is I had 11.
But that what I really like about that though is that you like that's a turning point right there. That's a turning point where you could say like, well, fuck this. Like I just gave 5 months and you're not gonna pass me by 1 round. Like, come on. Like, and we could go into pity party and we could go into like, fuck the agency and blah, 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 and go negative and be bitter, right? Or you do like you said, you go, okay, I'm the problem. I need to practice harder. I need to fucking nail this skill down. So I'm going to practice. I'm going to work my butt off and I'm going to go back and I'm going to do this whole thing over again to get this and then graduate. Like that is, honestly, to me, that speaks volumes about the type of person you are, because I know a lot of people that would be like, nah, I'm not doing it. Nah, nah, poor me. Right. And then they quit. And like, honestly, having worked in the field for as long as I did, I don't want you. If that's the type of person you are, I don't want you as my partner. I don't want you on my side. I don't want you in the car with me. I want the person that's going to be able to be like, yeah, I fucked up. It was me. I got to work harder. Okay, I worked harder and I got it. And here I am now, because that shows me resiliency. That shows me determination. That shows me, again, commitment to being the best that you actually can be and just working fucking harder to be better at it. Right. Versus like giving up and being like, oh, it's too hard. So yeah, I love that. Good for you.
Thank you. And I didn't
No,
mention the fact that the same day I got released from that first academy, the guy I was dating dumped me. And a couple of months later, it turns out I had broken my heel bone. And the doctor's like, that's the hardest bone in your body to break. How did you do that? That's so weird. And I'm like, I don't know. That's so weird. And then, so there was a few months between both academies and I was dealing with a broken heel. Fast forward to when I'm a police officer, I go on this call, I'm talking to this girl and she's like, oh, I broke that bone too. And I was like, how'd you break it? And she's like, I jumped off a bridge. And I'm like, I did not. But that just shows how hard it is to break this bone.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And that's not something to like laugh about. The point of that was,
yes,
it's really hard to break your heel bone and somehow mine just broke.
Yeah. Yeah, and painful. So painful. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So when you graduated, you went to, sorry, you said it at the beginning. What agency did you go to when you first became a full-time police officer?
Creve Corps.
Creve Corps. Okay, right. And so what was it like? Because so having come out of like, and I'm just saying generic in that it's like all the agencies can go there. Having came out of like a generic police academy, now you go to your specific municipality. Was there then like extra training on top of it that was like specific to your like bylaws and your municipality and the expectations for your municipality? Yeah.
Yes. And that was about like 3 or 4 months of field training. So me in the car with another officer, learning the city, even though I grew up there, like I still needed to, I didn't know all the streets, all the, things about the city. With an officer learning, how to handle this type of call. It's a lot of signing policies. Just the first like week or two was like the admin stuff. And then it was, figuring out the city, figuring out the job, figuring out where you fall in it. And it was COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you did how many years did you do then as the full-time police?
I did 2 years there. And then I met my husband online. Again, I should think of a better story for that. But he's a police officer. So I'm like, at least he's not like probably not a serial killer. So I thought it was fine. So we met, and this is like November of 2020. And I wanted to do more investigative work. I was really liking following leads, following cases, but working at a small agency, there just weren't a lot of opportunities. And I'm like, okay, well, I did fine on these calls of death investigation. I'm going to go be a death investigator at my county's medical examiner's office. And there's medical examiner's offices and there's coroners. They're two different systems. I don't know what you guys have, but
I don't know what we have. So what is the difference?
A coroner, like the head coroner, is elected. It's a political position, like a sheriff. And the medical examiner is part of the like county government. It's a job. The other one's a job, but it's not a political, So my husband.
I don't know what we have. I think we just have medical examiners because they work for the government of Alberta underneath God knows what ministry, but they work. I've never seen. I don't think that there's a politically elected somebody that would oversee that. I can't know. I think it's all just government employees. Yeah. I feel like it's government employees. Yeah.
So where my husband works, like he's in sheriff's department. And there's different rules for sheriff's departments, but he's in sheriff's department and they have a coroner. And their coroners there are something where they can they have commission. Oh, they're commissioned by the sheriff, but they're not certified. They haven't gone to police academy. It's really complicated. All I know is the medical examiner system, and I thought it was the most rewarding job I've ever done, truly.
So did you have to completely leave policing then to take on that job? Or was that like you were doing policing and then you were also doing this death investigation?
So I went down to part-time policing at a different agency. It was reserve policing where you basically just, you work court. You're basically the bailiff and you're just there. You get the hours, the training, and you just don't get paid. So they give you your certifications and you give them your time. And that's basically the trade-off.
Okay. And then, so you started doing this death investigation as like your full-time job then?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was also shift work.
Okay. Yeah. So what does it entail? Like what exactly were your responsibilities?
So in St. Louis County specifically, there's about 11,000 reportable deaths per year. There's 7 death investigators that cover 24/7 operations. So sometimes I was working by myself with a county with a population of over 1 million people. We get calls from hospice, hospitals, unattended deaths, sudden deaths, natural deaths, suspicious deaths, and the deaths we responded to were those suspicious and unnatural deaths. We had to figure out what the criteria was from the police officer or the hospital. Maybe it was like a homicide, but a delayed homicide where the person got shot like 20 years ago, but the cause of death was attributed to that, so it was a lot of triaging those calls at 2 a.m. by yourself when 3 other people are trying to call you.
Wow. Because I guess I always think, medical examiner is like only for murder, like only the bad ones. Then it's like, no, like people do autopsies like all the time for lots of different reasons. And so it's not just about, like suspicious or like criminal death. It's like there's all those other things are happening. And so like what type of things would be like deemed that you would go investigate? Like obviously you kind of give that example, but like, and I'm assuming obviously like homicide, we're going to go figure out what that is. But like even like the unexplained deaths, like just somebody died and we have no idea why. So then you're going to go check that out.
Sometimes. So the criteria for an autopsy might be different. Like it is different from us going to a scene. So say the investigator goes to a scene because it meets it's a floating criteria. Like someone was found in a weird position at the bottom of the stairs and you want to make sure that the death wasn't positional. Mm-hmm. So positional is another one of those like unexplained types of suspicious deaths. So that would be a case where you would go to the scene, but there's also cases where you wouldn't go to the scene and the person would still be brought in for an autopsy for the actual medical examiner. So the medical examiner has like an MD in autopsy. Yeah. So just because someone gets an autopsy doesn't mean it met the criteria for us to go to the scene. It's just, overdoses, there were so many, we stopped going if it met certain criteria, like if there's paraphernalia and something on scene, if all signs pointed to it and the police agreed, because we would go off the police investigation, but then they would just come in for an autopsy. So it was a lot of decision making, like on the fly, like, do I need to go to the scene? And the consequences to me were huge, because what if they describe something to you and you're like, that's not suspicious, but they're not describing it right. And you're not getting like justice for this family. Like you want to make sure every scene is treated with the utmost, like, I'm going to go in with fresh eyes, look at all the possibilities, and the police are going to help me narrow this down, because it's different protocols for working a homicide, different protocols for working, just 85-year-old that fell. It's just, you get so much of humanity. Like I sat in my car so many times and just like sobbed my eyes out. But then I was like, I have another call to go to. And that's like where I started to really feel it, but not know I was feeling it.
Yeah, totally. I was going to say, because now you're literally just surrounded by death all day, every day. Whereas being a police officer, like, and I always say this, being a police officer, like everyone kind of focuses on like the traumatic calls and the negative shit and like, getting yelled at and stuff like that. But the other side of being a police officer is that sometimes people fucking love you. Sometimes they are so happy to see you because you are coming to help them on their literal worst fucking day. And they're like, oh my God, somebody's coming here to rescue and save the day and thank you. Or, you know, you have little kids that think it's so cool. You like, whoop, whoop, with the lights and sirens. Oh, you're the super, you're super cool, right? Like police, you really do. Again, I'm not minimizing police work at all. Again,
Oh,
I
no,
have
yeah.
utmost respect, but like you kind of get some good shit sometimes, right? Corrections, not so much. We got a lot of the shit. We dealt with a lot of the shit. There's not a lot of people like us. Not a lot of people are fucking happy to see us. Mostly it's inmates. They don't really like us, right? Nobody's really seeing you on the street and being like, hey, cool. They're just like, what are you doing, right? Like, and like same thing, like death investigation, like you're just literally being surrounded by death all the time. And like, again, by like the worst circumstances around death, like that suspicious, that homicide, that like, okay, what really happened here? I have to judge this. I have to judge this effectively. I have to judge this correctly because if I don't, that can mean the difference between, you know, maybe this being prosecuted as a homicide and maybe this being prosecuted as like an accidental death. And like, if it was a homicide, you don't want to fuck that up. You want to make sure, like you said, that you're getting justice for the families. And so, like, what, and this is kind of like a multi question, like, what did you notice about yourself where you kind of said like, this is getting too much, or this is something in me is changing, or something needs to change around me because I am changing?
So, first of all, I would literally introduce myself. Hi, I'm Rachel. I work at the medical examiner's office. Nothing like, hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a police wife. Hi, I'm Rachel. I, you know, have two great parents that live in St. Louis. I'm a medical examiner investigator. That was my whole identity. That is how I saw myself. I saw myself as being needed. I mean, if I wasn't there, the office, and if I was the only investigator, it's hard to run an office. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I took a lot of worth and stock and identity in being the medical examiner or one of the investigators.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing to change that was when someone said, okay, but tell me something else about yourself. And I'm like, huh? Like,
Yeah. You're like, I
what
got
else
nothing.
is
What are you talking about?
what else
Like,
is there to know? It's not that important. I do this really cool job. And I started having these dreams about, so I'd go to a scene, say it was a person, car fire. Yeah. And then I'd have dreams about people on fire. And I'm like, this is normal because I literally came from that today. I actually came from two. So it makes sense that I'm seeing this in my dreams. But then I realized that was actually a nightmare. And when it was causing me to not be able to sleep and affecting my mood, my irritability, and my relationship, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work.
It's smart of you though that you actually recognize that before you got too far in, because I feel like a lot of us, we recognize those symbols, those signs early on too, but we were just like, it's fine. It's fine. Of course of course we're going to have those reactions. Like nobody else is seeing this shit. Nobody else is really like dealing with this like side of humanity, right? Everybody's nicely asleep in their beds, living their best lives, right? While I'm out here in the fucking ditches, like looking at dead bodies, right? Like we just kind of like push it down in that like normalizing it for us is like, it's not necessarily a coping mechanism at the start. I don't think it's just like, well, no, like this is what I signed up for. Like I knew when I was going to get into this that like I would see dead people or I would see, you know, like car accidents or I would see, right. So we just kind of go like, well, it's kind of normal. But then it gets worse and worse and worse. And then we don't, like, we just continue to normalize it and be like, oh, no, you know, I said I would say that. I was like, oh. But then it's like, no. Like all these other reactions that I'm having now are not normal for me normalizing that. Yes, of course I would have seen a car accident, a suicide, you know, whatever, like a domestic violence, like something, right? But then it's like, no, there's too much. That's too much. So what did you, like when you recognize that, what was your next step?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Blue Line Fitness Testing is a premier law enforcement fitness testing and training center based in Edmonton. Specializing in helping individuals prepare for the physical demands of a career in law enforcement, we offer comprehensive fitness evaluations, specialized training programs, and classes tailored to meet the unique needs of our clients. Our facility hosts a range of classes and are committed to fostering a supportive and empowering environment where clients can achieve their fitness goals. Our team includes experienced trainers who bring specialized expertise in law enforcement, self-defense, personal training, and rehabilitation. We engage through our community through challenges, events, and our podcast, and we are dedicated to helping individuals succeed in their fitness journeys and career aspirations in law enforcement. Are you looking to get started with your career? Come see Blue Line Fitness Testing, and we'll get you there.
So I took a step back, like just evaluated what was going on with me. And I was confused because I'm like, I'm functioning. I'm doing really well at work. Look at my social media. I look so good. I'm having so much fun. Like I don't understand. I was functioning. I was not fine.
Mhm.
So I tried to incorporate little things, but honestly, I think it was too late at this point, and this is what I'm trying to help others with is incorporating little things before you hit that crisis point. Because I think I was at the crisis point and trying to backtrack, and that was not gonna work. And I'm not
Mhm.
trying to get people to quit their jobs and drink kale smoothies and go to hot yoga. I mean, do if you want to, but little things. I would take 20 minutes every Monday and go to Target. I'd just walk around Target. Target would tell me what I needed because it was just like it was a break from
Mhm.
everything. And then my other friend said, "Oh, tell me to go to Target for 20 minutes. That's the most stressful 20 minutes of my life." So maybe your Target walk around looks a little bit different. But I also started playing the violin, and it's something I'd wanted to do from a very young age, never did it, have no music ability whatsoever, can't sing, can't dance. That's fine, I admit it. And I got a teacher and I'm still taking lessons and I'm not very good, but I'm just focusing on the next note. That's all I
Mhm.
care about is what note is next. I don't care about what I did yesterday. I don't care what I did 5 minutes ago, what I have to do tomorrow. It's how can I make this sound the least bad
You know
for
what is?
everyone's ears?
I will totally attest to this. So I started drumming during COVID too because I'd
Mhm.
always wanted to do it since I was a kid. I am also not very good. I also don't practice as nearly as much as I should, like at all. Terrible. You only get better if you practice. I know this. I fucking know this. However, time is short. But the thing that I found about music, because again, I'm not musical. My sister got all the musical talent. She can play a fucking ton of different instruments. I got all the athletic ability. She got all the musical talent, right? So for me, I have to be 100% completely focused on
Mhm.
the notes, the music, the beat. The second that I either A, get cocky because I'm like, oh, listen to me, ba ba ba, oh yeah, it sounded so good. Fuck, I fucked it up. Boom, that's it. It's gone. The beat is gone. The like tempo is gone. I fucked it up, right? Or I start to get into the beat and then it's like, say it's like a really repetitive beat,
Mhm.
right? For you, or like a repetitive thing that's like you're playing the same thing over and over and over again because you're on like, the whatever the break. I'll get bored and my mind will start to
Mhm.
drift. And then all of a sudden my timing is off. And then I'm like, God, focus. So for me, it was like the best thing ever to just be like, no, you actually can't be thinking 15 other things at the same time, like I usually did in my job, in my day
Right.
to day life. You can only focus on one thing. And that one thing is keeping the beat, keeping the time. And again, for me, I guess it's better because it's like there's four things. I'm moving four body parts at the same time. So like I kind of feel like I'm still doing like five things at once. But it was like I had to absolutely be like locked in, focused on you have to keep the beat and you have to keep the tempo. And then when my drum instructor Justine told me, she's like, you know that like the whole band relies on you, right? Like if you're not on time, the whole band. And I was like, oh my God, do not put that pressure on me. I cannot be relied upon to keep the beat. And she was like, it's literally the drummer's job. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be in a band at any time soon. So I guess I'm fine.
I love that we found something to kind of take us and put us in a place where we had to leave everything else behind for at least, that session or whatever. That is the most peaceful, even now when I don't see these things anymore because I'm sitting at a desk writing policy, which I still love. It's still the most peaceful hour of my week. It's still just like, oh, I have a really tough meeting that I have to prepare for tomorrow, but I'm not dealing with it right now because I am in my happy place. So those are the kind of things that I've been trying to encourage, like not a lifestyle overhaul, just what can you find that grounds you, that brings you. Now I can say, hey, I'm Rachel and I play the violin. Also, blah, 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 blah. And
Yes.
that would be so cool if people could keep their jobs and do that and find a good balance. I was past that point, honestly. So
I think it's very important that you did indicate that though, that you like kind of spoke about that, like that became your whole identity, because I see that a lot with young applicants and people that are coming in, because like through what I do with Blue Line, right, like I'm helping them get the job, and then I usually see them within a year or 2 years and they're like, now they're going to the next thing. They're going from corrections to sheriffs, or they're going from sheriffs to police, or they're going from police to a different police agency. And you can see the massive change, right? Like when they walked in the first time, they were just a Joe Blow civilian, like nervous, kind of like, hey, like, hi, I'm here to run my fitness test. And like, okay. And like, they're asking all these questions about the career. And, and again, I will always be the one, like, I'll tell you everything. I'm an open book. You want me to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly? I got you. I'll tell you all about it. And then I see them a year or two later, and then they walk in and it's with this like swagger, and it's with this like fucking disdain as they look around. And then they sit down, and like I had a dude the other week and he came in and he just, strutted in, and like instantly I already fucking just don't like people like that. Cause I'm just like, listen, brother, you're in a room with all of us are the fucking same. So like, first of all, drop the swagger. Second of all, fucking, we're all law enforcement. So get a life, right?
But yay
And
for
then
the confidence, right? I mean,
oh, totally. Well, and then he plops down in the chair and fucking spreads his legs wide, and he's leaning
God.
back, and he's working federal corrections, been there for 6 years. And I literally said, I was like, oh, that explains it. And he like stops and looks at me. He's like, what do you mean that explains it? I was like, oh, nothing. And he's like, no, seriously, what do you mean that explains it? I was like, nothing. And I asked him, the entry questions. Okay, let's take your blood pressure.
Yeah.
And he's all fucking, he's in his head about it, right? And he's like, no, seriously, what did you mean? What did you mean? I said, no, that's fine. It's all good. That explains it. And I always do like an intro when I go out, and I'm like, oh, hi guys, I'm Nikki. I'm the owner. And then I'm like, yeah, I was a correctional officer for 17 years and I was on SWAT. And I was like, I was a train, and his face, he was just like, meh. And I was like, yeah, that explains it. Hey. And he just kind of was like, but like, why? Like, why do we all of a sudden change and this becomes our whole identity? And now we're like this big fucking boy that needs to walk in and strut and like you're still who the fuck you are. That's just your job. You don't need to take that whole identity on and change who you are. You're still fucking Gary that does Gary things, right? You're not fucking Gary the cop all the time, right? Like you're just who you are. And that's your job, right? And I think that that's the big change I see in like, especially like 0 to kind of 2 to 3 years is like, man, you got to check it real quick. Cause if that becomes your whole life that soon, then that trajectory is there, because then all your friends become peace officers or police officers or COs or cops, right? Then and you start to exclude everybody else that was in your exterior life. And now all of a sudden, well, they don't understand. They don't understand what we're going through. They don't understand what we're doing. They don't understand shift work. They don't like neat, right? And then it's just, and those friends will only stick around for so long and be told that they're not important to you for so long before they're like, all right, well, Rachel never fucking comes out with us because she's always busy with her cop friends. So I guess me and Rachel aren't friends anymore, right? And it's like, that's the worst thing that can happen to us, is when those normal people start dropping out of our lives, because those are the people that give us a reality check when we need it, of like, hey, you are fucked up. You're acting fucked up. You're acting you're acting mean, you're acting judgmental. Like, they're the ones that can actually give us that dose of reality. And so I think it's super important that you address that and said, like that became, the only way I was able to identify myself is like, hi, I'm Rachel and I work at the medical examiner's office. Like, shit, like, yeah. So good for you for recognizing that. And so then what about like, what are some other things? So now you're totally out of, so we're not doing death investigations, we're not doing police work. except that we're now writing policy. So we're in an admin role. We've taken away that kind of like, immediate response, immediate like seeing of all the bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're on the flip side of it. Now you're in the administration side where there's like the politics and the stuff that kind of filters down with that. So how are you finding that compared to like the frontline stuff?
I actually really like it because, first of all, best work-life balance in my life. I work Monday through Thursday, 6 to 4. One of the days in the office, the other days are at home. So it's like, I can take a deep breath and like just be myself, even when I'm in the office, because I have great coworkers and I am fortunate that I work at a fantastic department that has tons of wellness resources. We have a wellness unit. I'm on the peer support team. We're building like all these tools to support our officers, and I'm so fortunate to be a part of that. So it's kind of a different challenge because when you called the medical examiner's office, you're like, I need the medical examiner, and I'd be like, I'm on my way. The scene could not continue until the medical examiner got there. But now when you're like, I need a policy revision, I'm like, so the policy process takes about 2 to 6 months. I went on vacation a couple weeks ago and I came back. There were no fires. Everything was fine. And I was not used to that. I was like, what did I miss? What's wrong? What's going on? And they're like, nothing. I hope you had a good vacation. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, you're like, you sure there's no pressing emails that they need to answer like right now? Like, what?
It's
like,
the mindset shift of like, no one, okay, at the medical examiner's office, no one was going to die because everyone was dead, is what, like, no one's going to die. But like, I am able to really just consider what I need.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I need a deep breath and then to answer the email, and I'm not minimizing this job. This job is so important on such a macro level. It's not the doing, it's the planning.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really got that until recently. I was just like, I have no emails in my inbox. No one needed me or cared that I left, and that poor me. But now it's just like, how fortunate am I that I get to go for 2 weeks and enjoy myself, and I can come back and ease into work,
Mm-hmm. It is wild because I know when I left corrections and I went and worked in an office environment for a couple of years in an office role. It was wow. It was a shock because it was like, somebody came into my office. Okay, we need this as soon as possible. I'm like, okay, like, yep, like I'll have it to you by the end of by the end of the hour. And they're like, oh, no, like
no need.
Like by the end of next week will be fine. And I was like, well, then don't fucking say you need it like as soon, like immediately. Like
your as soon as possible and my as soon as possible are very different.
Totally. Like I was like, I will literally stop whatever the fuck I'm doing and get this done for you like immediately. And they were just like, oh, no, like, I mean, no rush, but like, just like
you summarized everything that I just said with that example.
I was just like, the fuck. And then when somebody was in a rush, and I say this with quotation marks for our listeners that can't see my fingers, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? If this is a rush, we are going to get there in the year 2045. Like, what the fuck? This is a rush project. Are you fucking? And like the lack of decision making, like, okay, so we need to make this decision. So we're going to make a committee, and then we're going to have a meeting about setting the terms for the committee. And then once we have the terms for the committee, then we're going to have another meeting to set the committee meeting dates over the next 6 months. And then we're going to work around, then we'll have to get agendas set up. Then we're going to have those, like, we need to create bylaws around the committee. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
but I mean, people live their whole lives like that. And for me and you, we're like, what? And that's why it's so good. I work around a lot of, former cops, current cops. My boss is an active police officer. So they don't do that kind of stuff. They're like, okay, what do we need to do? See stuff in an email. Fantastic. So but I know exactly where you're coming from. And people like me are just like, how do you get anything done?
Yes. How do you get anything done? And like, just how, like, I don't know. For me, like, I guess that's why I chose the first responder career, because I like that, like operating at, like, I like those emergency decisions. I like thinking on the fly. I like it being chaotic. And so for me, it was really tough to work there because I was just like, holy fuck, I could get all of this work done in like an hour in the morning. And then what do you do for the next 7 hours? And then like the people that I worked with who had worked in this office environment their whole lives, they'd been there 15, 20 years. They're like dragging this shit out and making it last the whole day. And I was like, oh my God, just do it. Just get it done. Just get it off your desk. Like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, yeah, but if I do this, then I have nothing else to do. And then I have to look busy for the rest of the day. And I was like, I mean, I guess, but like, fuck, I just could not have it like sitting there, like just picking away, like, oh, I'll do 10 minutes of work and then I'll go for a walk. Oh, and then I'll do 10 minutes of work. And then I was like, I can't do it. That's why I did not last in the office environment. I was like, and peace. See you guys later.
I think I'm doing well because we actually do have work to fill our day, and it makes me feel very productive. But I mean, it's one thing. It's just, how do you describe recovering someone's stolen vehicle? It was their first car. They loved it, and you brought it back to them versus wrapping up a meeting. It's just different.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Well, I'm glad that you're happy where you're at now. And I'm glad that what you're doing now is still fulfilling for you, because I think sometimes that's the
Yes.
worry of leaving a first responder career, is that what you go to is going to be like you're settling for something else rather than what you dreamed about. Like, again, lots of people go into first, like for you, right? Your family did it. It was like something you thought about as you were a kid growing up. And so then a lot of people, I think that's why they don't leave, because it's like, to them, leaving is a failure, right? Leaving is like, oh, I gave up. I couldn't handle it. I wasn't strong enough. I didn't. And I always said, like, even when I left corrections, like one of the girls I was really good friends with, Tara, she was bawling. She was so sad for me. And she's like, I'm just so mad that they pushed you out, Nikki. And I was like, you know what, girl, like they didn't push me out. Like, I'm choosing to go because fuck this and fuck them. They didn't push me out. Like, I could stay. I could continue to stay and fight and fucking, grind against this institution. Or I could say, you know what? My sanity and my well-being and my health and my family's health is more important to me than this fucking job. And I was like, and that's what I'm choosing. So I'm choosing to leave. They're not pushing me out. And she was like, yeah, I guess. And I was like, no, like that is exactly it. I chose a better life. I chose that I wasn't going to be fucking held down in that place anymore. I chose to pick a better life, a better option for myself. And, at the end of the day, like people are going to talk shit. Sure, people are going to say, oh, she couldn't fucking hack it. Oh, she left. Like she couldn't tough it out. But like, do they live my life? Nope. Do they see that, my family is better and my kids are happier and I'm fucking happier and like that that I made a good choice? Nope. Do I give a shit? Nope. Because I'm over here living my best life, sitting on my deck right now in the sunshine.
I love that.
Not slogging in the jail with stinky ass inmates and doing shift work. Right. Like, so I mean, it's one of those things, like when you're in that position, and I love that you're saying, like, I'm not saying go quit your job. I'm just saying, is there a way that you can find something that's going to keep you grounded while you do your job? But sometimes it is like, if you've hit that point, you do need to leave. And yes, it's scary. And yes, it's, stressful, but like, do what's best for you. If that means quitting, it means quitting. If it means going to Target and wandering around for 20 minutes, go to Target and wander around for 20 minutes. I know my kid is turning 13 in August, and we're going camping for her birthday. And the only way that we were allowed to go camping again, because we go camping every year for her birthday and she gets mad because she wants to be at home, was that we're going to drive from the campground in Canada. We're going to drive down into Idaho so she can go to Target for the day. So that's how I convinced her to go camping again. So Target,
Wait, do you not have Target?
No, we don't have Target. No, we don't have Target.
Oh my God.
No Target up here. I know it's a very hot commodity. That's why all the Canadians, that when we come down, we go to Target, because we need all the cool things that you guys get.
And now they have Starbucks in them too. It's just like a whole adventure.
Yes. No, we use Costco. Costco is our like version of
Costco,
Target,
yeah. Okay.
where we'll go and wander around, some samples, get a hot dog, like it's an outing. Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to start to wrap up because you've dropped some really good things. But is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to like share? Is there any like things that you found within your life that you want to share?
I just kind of want to wrap up with the fact that you can be strong, capable, resilient. You can be that first responder, and you can still need support and get support. And getting support and being a leader and modeling getting support is probably the best thing that you could do for yourself and your people. And I just start the conversation, start the hard conversation. We need to be having those conversations, because if I think maybe if I had more conversations, I'd still be doing the coolest job in the world, the medical examiner's office. So I don't regret anything that I went through. And I think everything that has made me stronger, I've had amazing leaders throughout my experience. And I've been very fortunate for that, because I know that that's not a universal situation, but every decision I made was to do what I thought was best for myself. And I'm so thankful to where it's led me. And you're not alone. Nobody's alone. I'm not alone. You're not alone. Yeah.
Love that. I absolutely love that. I think that's exactly right. And modeling that it's okay to ask for help, because I think that's the other thing is that leaders, we get to that leadership role and we're struggling in that leadership role by ourselves sometimes because we don't have other leaders with us. Like once you're the leader, you're the solo, right? So there isn't anybody around that you can struggle with or that you can have those conversations with. And so we look like we're have it all together, but we fucking don't. We're like barely hanging on, but we don't model that. We don't, we don't say to our staff like, hey, like, yeah, I'm going to therapy because I was going to fucking murder somebody and I can't, like I can't handle this. And so I think that's a very key part of that is like model that it's okay to ask for help, model that it's okay to be in therapy, to be talking to somebody, to be sharing, to be having those conversations, because that is a big thing coming from our leadership. So yeah, I really like that. Okay, so I always wrap up. Love these questions because they're always so fun. But number one question I ask all my guests: what is your favorite food or snack while you are at work? And this could be when you were on with police. It could be when you were a death investigation. It could be right now. Favorite food or snack?
I'm kind of going through a hummus thing.
Hummus. Yes.
I'm kind of in like a hummus situation right now. And I like can't explain it. I don't know where it came from and I don't know how long it'll stick around. But like they make these little things and there's the chips on top, or they're like pretzels, and then the hummus on the bottom, and you just crack it open and it's like takes up that much room in your lunchbox. So I'm on a hummus thing right now.
Yes. I was going to say hummus and pretzel crisps. Delicious.
Yep.
Delicious.
100%.
Yep. I love it. Yep. And it's healthy. It's healthy. So that's what I tell myself at least. But yes, I love it. Very good. Very good. Okay. Number two, what was one of like the wildest calls that you went to? And it doesn't have to be gory. It doesn't have to be like, like one of the grossest or anything like, but just like shit happened and you just looked around at the end of the call and you were like, what the fuck happened there?
Oh man. I need to consult my list. I have a list.
I love it. No, I love it. I love that there's a list. It's like I have to go back through the plethora of experiences to
Literally.
find.
I mean, this isn't like the craziest one, but it's one that stood out. The ceiling fell on this guy and he was deceased. And everyone thought for some reason that it was like a homicide, that he was up in the attic and like someone pushed him, and it was this whole big thing. Come to find out, he was just sitting in his chair and the ceiling fell on him, and he also just like happened to pass at the same time. So like it was just this whole big investigation. It was just the whole big thing.
Crazy.
And it was just a thing. And I know that's not super crazy, but like it's crazier than what I deal with now. So
no, but it is because it's
me.
like, but that's the thing too. Like you're like, even like you said, with these death investigations, like things are not always as they seem. Right. And like, that's why those decisions have to be made. And that's why those people have to go to the scene. And that's why, like, because it could be this way or this way. And if you kind of go like, oh, it couldn't have been that. It couldn't have been that. Then
don't limit yourself.
Yes. Then you're like, oh shit. Well, it actually was that. Wow. Wow. Oh, what a thought. That's so like that poor man though, too. You're just thinking like, really, like that you were already dying or dead in your chair. And then the ceiling decided to crash on you. Like, that's not fair. That's not a fair. That's not a fair way to go.
Oh, poor guy. And I always say like a little like prayer in my head once I, after these themes, just, protecting all of us, protecting them. I don't know.
Totally. No. And I think, like that's that part of humanity where that is a big thing of it. It's like when you've seen the fragility of human life, you are very aware and you're very much like just grateful and just like, yep, like it is very delicate and it is fleeting. And there are things that like the turn of one thing could happen and everything changes. So I think it is very much like that when you're working those fields. So I love that. I think, okay, the last one that I have for you is what would be a piece of advice that you would give to somebody looking to start a first responder career or, you know, again, move through these different roles. You've given some good ones in relation to like, you know, keep that identity and have those things that you do. But what else would you say?
Well, I literally have a note that says, if she asks for advice, this is what I want to say because I organize my thoughts. So I would just say, build relationships outside of work. Don't make your profession your identity. Don't wait until you're struggling to ask for help. Being affected by the work doesn't mean you're weak, and therapy is not a failure. Those are like the biggest life lessons from my career so far that I've learned. And I think that's really important to pass on to anyone else. And also take the chance. Like if someone offers you a really weird opportunity, like, I don't know, going on Wheel of Fortune, take a chance.
Okay, no, we're not done the podcast, guys. Fucking screech, hold the fucking phone. How did we fucking skip over that? Tell me this story. How did I not even ask that as a question? Oh my God. It's because I was so enthralled with all the other things you're talking about. Tell me about Wheel of Fortune. Oh my God.
So I applied for like literally 3 years. And then in 2025, like late summer, I get an email saying like, be in LA in 3 weeks, but don't tell anybody. So I email my boss and I'm like, I need to go to LA in 3 weeks and I can't tell you about it. And he's like, have fun. And I love that. I'm like, great, perfect.
Okay, wicked.
I flew out to LA. There was like a whole big group of us. They taped 6 episodes and they're like, yeah, so we don't know for sure that you're going to get on an episode. Some of you guys are going to be alternates. And I had just flown all the way to LA from St. Louis, which is like 4 hours. That's significant to me.
Yeah.
And I was with my husband and I ended up getting selected to tape the last show of the day. So it's like 5:00 at night. I'm Diet Coke after Diet Coke, just like, let's go. And should I give away what happened? It's already aired.
It's already aired?
It's already aired.
Okay, tell me, and then we'll go find it, and then I'm going to link it in the show notes, guys. You can watch it.
It might be off Hulu. I don't know. But it was on Hulu. So I got a bankrupt. I then got to lose a turn, and then I solved 2 puzzles, and then the episode was over.
Oh my gosh! You're like, how? I've tried for 3 years to get on this dang show. What the hell? Oh my God. Was it so cool though? What a cool experience.
It was so cool. And I'm going to take my money and I am going, well, me and my husband, we're going to Banff.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
That's right by me.
Is it really?
It's 4 hours away from my house. Yep. It's beautiful. You will love it. When are you coming?
I heard September is the move. So before it snows, but after it's like really hot. So that 2 weeks right there.
Girl. Okay, girl. I'm going to tell, oh my God, I'm going to tell you after we get off this podcast, I'm going to fucking share the shit out of what you should do in Banff. Oh my God. Yes.
Okay.
Glorious. I love that for you. Like, again, I love that you just like picked something. You're like, Wheel of Fortune, I'm coming for you. 3 years. I'm going to apply. I think that's so cool. Like, I've always thought like I would love to be on like a show of something because I have a pretty dynamic personality and I have like, you know, I think I'd be great on a show. But then I'm just like, I don't really have the resilience to like keep applying and be like, hey, pick me, right? But like so freaking cool. So how much money did you win?
8,000 US.
Yes. For being resilient for 3 years, I'll take 8 grand. Yes. Oh my God, that is so freaking cool. Okay, and what were the puzzles that you solved?
One of them, the answer was karate black belt, which is so random. I don't know how I'd even know that. And what was the other one? I cannot remember the other one. You'll just have to watch the episode.
We'll have to watch the episode, guys. I'm going to find it. I'm going to link it in the show notes. You guys are going to watch. You're going to cheer. You're going to know what's going to happen, but it doesn't matter because we're still going to be glued to the TV looking and watching. I think that is the fucking coolest. Oh my God. Well, girl, this has been a time. I have had so much fun with you. Thank you for being brave and reaching out and being like, hey, I have some things I want to say. Do you want to put me on your podcast? And me being like, sure, absolutely. Let's go. Because yeah, super cool. Great information. And yeah, we're definitely going to run fun with this, and it's going to be awesome. The listeners are going to love it. Any last words for the listeners?
No, I was going to say come visit Missouri, but like, there's an arch. You can Google a picture of it. If not, that's fine too. So
we started the podcast, you guys, before we started recording. And I was like, "Oh, so you're from Missouri? That's pretty cool." She's like, "No, it's not." She's like, "Oh." She's like, "There's really nothing cool that happens here. Missouri's pretty boring." I was like,
that's like
okay.
When you call your friend and you're like, "Hey, how are you?" And they're like, "Bad." You're like, "Oh, this is not on the script, but okay."
I just thought it was cool because I know nothing about Missouri, so maybe I'll just come for a little travel. Yeah, I'll just come for a little travel. Or maybe I'll drive to Banff. When you come to Banff, I'll pop over and be like, "Hey, I'll meet you in person," and it'll be super cool. Oh my gosh. Well, no, it's been a treat. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank
I
you.
freaking totally appreciate you, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day.
You too.
Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening, giving me your time, your energy, and your attention. I completely appreciate it. Make sure you check out our next episode with another badass female first responder anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at bluelinefitnesstesting.com. I hope you stay safe, keep your head on a swivel, and watch your six.